Every single time I come on board a new team to manage their sales team and drive their performance, there's 5 key levers that I'm looking for to optimize or tweak to get the most out of that sales team and really scale their cash. So in this video, what I'm really going to be doing is going over those 5 levers, how you can actually optimize them, and what to actually look inside those 5 levers. So first one is fixing the close rate. Now, a good telltale sign that it's a needle mover to fix the closing rate is if it's below 20% consistently. If you have reps who are doing 15%, 18%, it's really a good point of call to just try and optimize the close rate. But it's not as simple to think, okay, yeah, I just want to optimize the close rate. There's loads of things to it. And to be fair, all these 5 levers really do contribute towards the close rate as well. But there's 4 main pillars inside close rate optimization that I'm really looking for. First thing is the pitch. Right? A lot of teams I've came into and I've shortened up the pitch to under 15, under 10 minutes, made it outcome based and not featured based, and the close rate is increased 5 to 10%. Right? So you want to make sure that the first thing you're looking for is the pitch. Do you have a really long pitch, maybe 15, 20, even 30 minutes long? Is it really, really unengaging, featured based, and not interactive for the prospect? If it is, likelihood is it needs a bit of changing, it needs a bit of tailoring, it needs to be rejigged, right? Ideally under that 12-minute mark, tailored to the specific prospect, interactive, asking questions throughout, and the main one is outcome based. Now, next one is length. A lot of closers have lengths of calls, maybe 65, 70, 80, an hour and a half, right? They can't seem to keep the length of calls under 60 minutes. What you want is ideally 45 to 60 minutes max, no dragging, so that closers can go from call to call to call, not drag things out and give prospects analysis paralysis. Right? Next one is the structure side of things. Structure is really important. Last thing you want is 5 different closers who do 5 different type of framework structures to the call, because it's very hard to manage and it's very hard to actually give fixes and optimizations on it. So you want your closers to ideally follow one set structure, one set process, so you can really just audit what they're doing and give them feedback. So this is very, very, very vague. So intro, discovery, pitch, objections, CTA, or close. I go into this a bit more in a different video, but it's a bit more in depth in terms of what is in the discovery side of things. So just make sure they're following the structure. And I've actually got an AI call reviewer that actually goes through, are you following the structure? How good are you following the structure as well? And the last pillar of close rate optimization is selling outcomes, not features. We went into this in terms of the pitch, and it's really stop listing the benefits, stop focusing on the features, the surface level stuff, and go into depth on what their life looks like post close, right? You want to sell the outcome. Bonus, reps should ideally use screen shares with visual frameworks, with more B2B offers, maybe a bit more complicated offers, but it's not really that deep. I'd say probably one of the main parts of close rates being low is closers just not going for the close, not going for the commitment, being a bit too timid, and not really digging deep enough in the discovery side of things and objection handling. Okay, so one of all of those, or a few of all of those. Now, the next lever that you can do to really scale your sales team is objection handling and going for the close. This is similar to the close rate side of things, but this is probably one of the biggest bottlenecks I see with closers at this day and age, right? They just don't go for the close. They don't know how to objection handle. They just don't really know how to really just go for it. Right? They don't have that confidence to go for it. Maybe they're used to a B2B background. Maybe they're used to a bit more reserved background where you don't go to the close. But a lot of prospects, they fail to really do things themselves. So you need to lead them sometimes, right? So how I do this is I teach structure in the objection handling. I actually have a 5-step process. This is a bit outdated, which I will go through in a different video. I think it's my last video. And it pretty much runs through what to do when an objection arises, all right? So that you're not surprised, you're not stressed, you don't feel anxious that they're giving an objection. You know exactly what to do, you know exactly how to handle it, because there's a process to it. Okay? Really important to keep objection handling collaborative, not combative. Don't butt heads, don't argue, keep it relaxed. All right? And don't dodge the close. Most reps are actually afraid of commitment questions. So why don't we just get rocking and rolling? Why don't we get started? Would you be opposed to just get started right now? I really just go into asking for the close, going in for some form of commitment, whether it be a follow-up call at the very least, whether it be a deposit, whether it be a lower payment plan, whether it be going for the pay in full and not suggesting payment plans so easy. There is a lot to this. And it's really important that your reps know exactly how to go to the close and the exact process to handling objections. And what you can do is you can do daily drills on looping, reframing, calling out non-answers with calm certainty, calling out people's bullshit essentially, and really just going for the close and being a bit more assumptive with the close. So that's lever 2. Now, the lever 3 of this section is pipeline and follow-up. As you guys probably know, I go along on this with most videos. 30% of all my deals when I used to be a closer, and all deals from closers I see, should come from follow-up. Right? Meaning, if you don't have a systemized process for pipeline blocks, following up with prospects, then you're missing out on a shit ton of cash. Right? So I would always recommend reps to do 3 pipeline blocks, hour a day, 3 times a week, per week, per rep. That was a bit of a mouthful. To make sure they're doing it, they're sifting through their pipeline systematically. The CRM is set up in a way that really serves the pipeline. They've got the notes, they've got everything on the prospect, the updates, and they know exactly where to go. Prioritizing hot buyers versus stale conversations or people who are ghosting, if that makes sense. Also tracking the follow-up side of things with reps and holding them accountable to it. Really, really, really important to make sure they're actually doing this and not leaving the follow-ups to just fizzle out. 4th, second to last lever is show rate. Now, I've seen some abysmal show rates in the past. And show rate is probably a really good lever. If it's below 66%, it's a great lever to be able to tweak to get more cash from your business. Okay, so ideally with info, show rates are typically like 55, 60, maybe 70% if you've got an organic funnel or maybe if things are pretty fresh. But if it's around 60, it's all right. Definitely can have some work. You definitely can get up to 70, potentially 80, right? If it's agency, it should be a bit higher. But usually the average I see is about 60, 70. We can get that to about 70, maybe 80 with the right setup. So what I'd advise here is SMS and email multi-step reminders, but not just any reminders that look robotic. You've got to make it seem like they have a personality. It's a real person sending them, not some robotic automated reminder that's just corporate and it just doesn't look genuine. You got to make it so a person is actually sending them. Also, same day confirmations from the closer or a VA or the cold caller or the day before as well. And make sure you set hard expectations in terms of what to do to prepare for the call, how to show up, to not be on your phone, etc. Make sure it's really easy for the prospect to know when to show up, how to show up, and the repercussions if they don't show up. If that makes sense. Also, a bonus, which to be fair, I don't know why it's not in here, is calendar booking timeframe. Right? Ideally, if you use certain calendars, you can do it where you set it for 2 days in advance. So you can only book in 2 days in advance. That really, really increases the show rate. But if you have a lot of bookings, you can do 3 days in advance. But I wouldn't do any more than 3 days that a prospect can book into your calendar. And that's really going to help the show rate side of things. And the very, very last lever that's really going to skyrocket your sales team and what I look at when I go into sales team is just daily training and individual closer reviews. I might come on a team and realize, wow, there's a few closers that are just wildly underperforming. They're not right for the role and they just don't have that sales knack to them, okay? Or they're just a C player. In that case, it would be a case of potentially letting them go from the team, replacing them, or just seeing where individual closers need help on specifically, whether it be the objection handling, discovery, whatever. So what I would do is I do one-to-ones with each closer each week, role plays, rotating with objections, going through what they need to work on, call reviews, probably 2 to 3 times a week per closer, probably more, just to see exactly what they need to work on as well. And just tracking the close rate, show rate, objection patterns, average order value, absolutely everything. Right? And the last thing is build your team culture around feedback and iteration and not ego. You want to be working with these guys and setting an example. So that is pretty much it. That is essentially what I would look at to start with every single time I go into manage a sales team and really drive the performance. If you are looking to potentially take your sales team off your hands and have the sales team, the sales floor, the data tracking, the training, the hiring, the firing managed for you, then either drop me a message on Instagram at @TomHyder_, or click the link in my YouTube description bio and book in a call. But hope this helps. Have any questions, pop me a message on Instagram and speak soon.